Valentinos. Also, we have T-shirts for $10 up here at the top of the stadium in the press box.
Can you hear me or no?
If you'd like to
Not through here, no.
family,
I can't hear myself either.
Yeah,
T-shirts left over.
Ventura County and beyond. And welcome to Camarillo High School, Carl Thompson Field, as the Ventura Cougars take on the Camarillo Scorpions, our first fall football game of this 2015 prep football season. My name is Danny Page. With me in the booth, Kent Brown and the Deuce Derry Eads. If you were watching on our special Periscope pregame, then you according to our viewers, got a good look at the Deuce's mustache. That was a really high point of the pregame show. But if you tuned in, you also got a chance to hear how excited we are to see this Camarillo team for the first time this season, Derry.
Hey, my mustache is older than you, Danny Page.
I hope you've at least trimmed it a couple times or cleaned.
I don't think I recall doing that.
Cleaned up some of those hamburgers.
I don't recall ever doing that.
Jake Constantine, your mustache is definitely older than Jake Constantine. And we'll get to that in just a sec. Let's listen in now on the national anthem.
The Camarillo High School marching band with our national anthem.
An absolutely beautiful night. The temperature, as you see the sunset here in your picture, the temperature has cooled down just a little bit, and it's just a fantastic night for football. Derry, you were saying we're excited about this Camarillo team and Jay Constantine this season, and they have a worthy adversary tonight in the Cougars.
Yeah, we're talking about a Ventura program that was a section runner-up last year and returned a 3-year starting quarterback in Tyler Smith, who could by the end of the season be the number 2 all-time passing leader in Ventura County history. They've got a pair of really good running backs. You know, the last game that we saw, Brock Mortensen was the guy, and he got hurt in that game. 28 carries in the first half, and we're seeing Rowan Moran come on. He's got 57 carries for 251 yards in about a game and a half.
And as we bring in Kent Brown, Kent, you're from Western PA, right? You have to love a guy that totes the ball 28 times in a half named Brock. And the Ventura running back, things were working for Ventura when he was able to run the ball.
Yeah, when he's an effective player, their offense is more balanced, and not to mention it's a lot scarier because they have weapons on the outside. Obviously, you lose one of your top receivers, and then you're trying to replace him. But you have Brock Mortensen to work with. Tyler Smith, as Derry said, he's a veteran. He's now been around as a starter for years. That's what you want to see out of this group, a power back, a good quarterback, and a bunch of receivers on the outside that can challenge a defense. And they're going to need that tonight because on the other side, Jake Constantine and this Scorpions offense, they're going to put up some points, and they're not afraid to go to their running back either, Isaiah Otis. So it should be a really fun matchup, but Mortensen needs to be the guy on first and second down, needs to get the ball a lot tonight if Ventura wants to come in here and get the win.
We bring in the fourth member of our broadcast team down on the field, Will Cowan. And Will, you were on the field for Ventura's defeat to Rio Mesa. What do the Cougars need to do right in that running game with Brock Mortensen if they're going to get a different result tonight?
Danny, I'm really excited to see how Ventura has shored up some of those struggles they had against Rio Mesa, specifically containing the outside. I felt the Ventura defense on the end and linebacker positions had a lot of trouble containing that speed.
Definitely. It's something they really have to work on tonight. When you talk about what Camarillo has to offer, Derry, Otis, Tostado, and there are other weapons out there now emerging for the Scorpions.
Yeah, Colby Stevens, he's been a guy that has been pretty good over the last couple of seasons. Ryan Muscarella is kind of like a Mr. Everything for the program with kick returns, receiving. He'll run a little bit. He's a very exciting kid. So I just want to also mention, in the game that we covered with Ventura, the one problem Ventura had was when they got in the red zone, they either turned the ball over, they got some costly penalties. It seemed last week that maybe they cut those things down in their win over Saugus. That's going to be a kind of a key to this game.
Yeah, and that's one thing you need. When you get in the red zone, you need to find a way to get points no matter who you play. And so tonight, if Ventura can be better in the red zone, as you said, they'll challenge for 4 quarters.
Rico Stubbs back to receive. Caden Muscarella kicking off for Camarillo. Boy, anytime there's a kid named Muscarella in the county, they're going to be a talented contributor to either Camarillo or Newberry Park. This will go over Stubbs' head. The Cougars in the all-white with black uniforms and white numbers. Will, you're going to be our man down on the field helping assess exactly who is who. It's a tough task from all the way up here.
Yes, the all-white numbers with a little black outline, very challenging to read.
So the Cougars will start from the 20-yard line. I think you brought up obviously the issues in terms of in the red zone, and that's the big question for Tyler Smith. He has 510 yards, 53 of 86 on the year, but yet he only has 2 touchdown passes. Let's go through the starters offensively for the Cougars. Austin Litton at right tackle, Ruben Santillan, Zeke Ortega, Jackson Steiner, and Ethan Godsey on the line. The H-back is Roger Palacios. Wide receivers are Eric Austin and Christian Schaefer, along with Stubbs. Here's an inside handoff. And guys, it goes absolutely nowhere straight away, a 3-yard loss.
Yeah, on the first play, the Scorpions came and they stuffed the run there, and coming in making the big play, Bronson Smith, 235-pound senior defensive end. He came through, beat those offensive linemen to the point of attack, and that's what you need if you are the Scorpions defense. Make plays early, get Ventura in 2nd and 3rd and long.
Here is a inside handoff to Moran again, and just like that, it's 3rd down and long, Will.
On that series there, Danny, you saw the Scorpions rolling an extra safety into the box to put 8 blue jerseys on the Ventura run.
To the near side, you're going to see something you don't always see, which is a corner wearing number 81. That's Frankie Tostado. Tostado backs off. Smith with the play fake, looking to his left, tries to toss the ball underneath, and is eventually taken down. It's 3 and out, guys.
Great coverage. That time there was nobody downfield that was open. I think it was a smart play by Smith. Just step into it, pick up a yard or 2, and punt the ball. Great coverage by those corners, and specifically, like you said, Tostado there on the wide side of the field.
Back deep, Ryan Muscarella.
Muscarella to receive. He's at his 41-yard line.
Roger Palacios to punt for Ventura.
Palacios with the kick. So you got a corner number 81. You have a punter number, 82. And it's a nice punt inside the 40-yard line. Ventura starts there. 1st and 10, a 39-yard punt. So far, not so good, though, for the Cougars as they go 3 and out.
Great defensive start by the Scorpions, but fortunately a good punt, no return, and so they're starting in minus territory. We'll see what this defense can do, but overall, great defensive start so far for the home team. And Ventura, you need to win those battles up front more. You can't get in 2nd and 12, 3rd and 9, and expect to move the chains.
Will be our analyst on the field as he'll provide insight as to specifically how things are playing out in between the hash marks, even though he's
interesting
not
shift.
on the field.
Interesting shift in use of formation for the quick screen.
Yeah, nice screen to the left side. Elijah Alexander, another one of these weapons for Camarillo, picks up a good 7-8 yards. And again, this entire group is healthy. Unlike last season, Darian, we did this Ventura Camarillo game a season ago. It was really where things, I won't say they fell apart for the Scorpions, but they lost so many key players in a short stretch.
Yeah, they were like 5-2, and then they struggled. They only won one game the rest of the season.
2nd and 2. Here's Jake Constantine. Constantine gives to Otis, and Otis appears to pick up the first down.
And if you remember 2 years ago, we were at this game. Constantine got hurt the week before, and I think they brought in Colby Stevens as the quarterback.
Gain of 2 yards on the play.
Constantine gets the ball, or Otis, I should say, right to midfield.
Tackled by Rico Stubbs.
And St. Bonnie has taken an early lead on Hart at Ventura College. And here's a lot of room for Otis on the draw play, who gets a first down and more. Isaiah Otis, 5'9", 185-pound senior. He carries himself a little bit bigger than that, though, doesn't he, Will?
Yes, very strong and compact style of movement there.
All spotted at the 39-yard line of Ventura.
Otis was 608 yards on the ground on the season. It's about 628. Nice throw over the top for Constantine. Down to the 20, 15, 10, and finally wrestled down at the 5-yard line is Desmond Clancy, the senior tight end. A 33-yard gain, and Jake just picked the Cougars apart defensively there.
Yeah, great job there. He was able to get a couple of linebackers to bite right towards the line of scrimmage, and then an easy pitch and catch. Found his tight end streaking down the field. Beautiful play by Clancy. And Clancy's a big guy, 6'1", 195, perfectly in stride. Now that throw was right on the money.
Shift from the Scorpions. Looks like they'll run to the right-hand side. The ball's fumbled, and
looks like he got it.
Did he fall back on it?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Covered by Jake Constantine.
That's a big set, though, Will, isn't it, from this Camarillo team as they move Brett Herron, the linebacker, over to block on that right side as well.
Yeah, what they're doing is shifting to an unbalanced line. The Cougar defense really didn't slide over there much, so you can expect a stretch play over the right side if they do that again.
Goal from the 6.
Bit of a wasted play, though, obviously, on the fumbled snap.
Yeah, anytime it's negative plays in the red zone, that's a win for the defense.
Lost just a yard, though. It's only 2nd and goal. Constantine will roll left. He could throw left. Now striding to the 2, and he dives right at the goal line, but I think he's going to be marked short. He'll be stopped at about the half-yard line.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's about 7 or 8 inches short. Maybe could have thrown that ball in. I thought he had a tight end in the flat.
Yeah, Clancy was open right near the goal line, but he waited too long, and at that point, pretty good run just to get down inside the 1. But you're right, Will. If he puts it to Clancy there, Clancy probably walks in for the score.
Very challenging to throw on the run, moving to the left for young quarterbacks.
3rd and goal from the 1. Wyatt Zambri, the defensive end, is offset on the far side, and they'll run that way with Otis. And Otis is into the end zone. Touchdown, Scorpions.
Isaiah Otis.
They made it a little hard once they got inside the 10, but Otis strides on in, and it's 7-0 Scorpions.
Yeah, good possession. They started the ball at their own 39, marched it to midfield, and before you know it, the big play, the 39-yard or 33-yard pass play to Clancy, and then a good finish there. Nice run on 2nd and goal after almost fumbling the snap and losing yardage in the first down, and then it was a simple run over to the right side, and that's about as easy as it's going to be for a guy like Otis walking into the end zone. Great opening series for Camarillo on defense, and then the offense picked them up and got the touchdown. Impressive start.
Extra point is good.
Couldn't ask for much more here if you're the Scorpions starting this game off with tremendous dominance on the line of scrimmage, especially keeping an eye on big number 76 for the Scorpions, Christian Shawn, the big 280-pounder.
Well, this is why it's so interesting to finally have a look at this Camarillo team, because we don't get an opportunity to see what they're doing in the trenches, to see some of the other weapons outside of the Tostados and the Otis that we hear about. But you have to like that catch from Clancy. You obviously have to like that they're blocking options in the big set as well. Impressive thus far from Camarillo.
Yeah, and I think the one thing, too, is they didn't even really have to use Tostado. We know he's maybe their biggest weapon, Derry, and so far this season, they've gone to a lot of other players, which is a good sign going forward.
Well, just like Danny was saying, kind of keeping him under the cover till really the big games come.
Return up to the 32-yard line for the Cougars. What can they do differently offensively here?
I think first thing, the offensive line has to win that battle of the line of scrimmage. Hat on hat, make the plays, and then get in second and medium, third and short. And then the other thing, too, is once you get that running game going, if they can start to run with both Moran and Mortensen, now play action, you hit the defense over the top and try to maybe exploit that. But you need to start off. If they can't run the ball, it's going to be a long night. They have to establish this run.
1st and 10 from right in the middle of the park. And that's a nice 8-yard gain for the Cougars. Deuce, who was that carried the football? Again, with these white-on-white numbers.
That was Moran.
I have no idea what's even happening. So we haven't seen Mortensen yet. I know he was questionable for the game.
Yeah, I think a big difference in that run as opposed to the first two runs, they were kind of long drawn out. They've got to really hit it quick.
It's a great call, Derry. Right on cue is Wyatt Zambri wrestles Moran to the ground. Basically, Deuce, as you were delivering that analysis, it's exactly what took place.
Jacketeer is on the carry.
You know, Rio Mesa did a great job of just closing out the outside, where Ventura really has the big punches inside and really quick hits.
Tackled by Colin Kirksey.
And lost yardage. You were 2nd and 1, now 3rd and 2. You can't afford to get into that range.
From the pistol. A quick handoff this time, and room around the right side. Moran across midfield, down to the 40. Moran carries to the 35-yard line. 1st and 10, Ventura. 25-yard gain, Will.
On the carry, down to the Camarillo 35-yard line.
Yeah, that time, though, great blocking up front. Moran followed his blockers, and he looks good. For a guy filling in right now for Mortensen, he's really shined here, and this is what they needed. And now that they're getting this run established, start to look for this passing game, whether it's Schaefer, Austin, McKenzie, Stubbs. They have guys on the outside that can really make a difference. And Palacios is a tight end. We've seen him make some plays over the last few weeks.
It seems that it's either an 8-yard, 10-yard, 20-yard gain for the Cougars, or it's -3-4. Will, how can they, if you can hear us down there, Will, how can they cut back on these negative gains? Are they just really losing ground as they try to run to the wide side of the field?
Well, yeah, the offensive line is not getting the edge secured on that stretch play, and the Scorpion speed is faster to the ball.
Play didn't get off. Timeout for Ventura. A 5-yard loss on the play prior, though. What's the solution? I'd like to hear from all of you on this.
I think right now you have to look for simple pass plays, hope to make the defenders miss, and then keep running the ball, preferably between the tackles. When they've ran it between the tackles in those hash marks, they've looked better. Anytime they've bounced it outside, as Will just mentioned, the defense has closed on it a lot quicker. And plus, you're now in positive territory. Maybe play this for 4 downs. Pick up 7 or 8 yards here, pick up another 4 or 5, and then go for 4th and short. So this is a really big possession, Derry, and I feel like if you're Ventura, you're trying to play this to get the touchdown. You don't want to have to settle for a field goal, knowing the way Camarillo's offense just moved the ball downfield on their first possession.
Yeah, they've got to do something. I just kind of think, you know, we saw in the Rio Mesa game, even when they threw the outside, they didn't have a lot of success. I really would like to see them kind of throw in the middle someplace to kind of loosen up the defense a little bit, because they're just really packing it up against the running game.
Yeah, go for some timing routes. It's not a bad idea, especially when you have a tight end like Palacios over there. Palacios is a big guy, over 6 feet, almost 200 pounds. That could be a guy that you create some sort of mismatch with.
2nd down and 14 from the 39.
Cougars come out of the timeout. We have their coaches behind us, actually. Brad Stewart. Bob Gregorchuk's an assistant at Ventura this year, former Rio Mesa coach. I've seen him play some classic games in this stadium, that's for sure. A nice 6-yard gain sets up a more manageable 3rd and 9, and Ventura might even be in 4-down territory at this point, guys.
You would think so. It makes sense right now, especially this would be a 51-yard field goal where they're spotted on the field. Run it here, hopefully pick up the 1st down if you're Ventura. If not, you're probably looking at 4th and medium. But again, I don't feel comfortable. If they bounce it outside, I don't really like what they've done.
Looks like Smith may have gotten a Camarillo player to jump.
Looked like it, yeah. Looked like it was over the right end there, number 43
Puts the
making
ball
a
to
jump, Wyatt
29-yard
Zambri.
line.
So that's big. Now all of a sudden, 3rd and
It's a
4.
third down and 4.
That's a lot more manageable than 3rd and 9. That's a big penalty.
If you're Ventura, really, you have 2 plays, it feels like, to pick up the first down, and that's only 4 yards.
This is the Queen of Hearts play, whatever it is. You got a big sign over there? Queen
Yeah,
of Hearts.
no, I see. Nice eyes. Moran runs over the left
First
guard.
down. Oh, he's going to be short.
Lone Moran, the ball
Is he
carrier.
short? That's tight. You at least like where Ventura was running and the yardage they were picking up. I thought he was easily going to get that first down, Will.
Zambri.
You know, Danny, thinking back to the Rio Mesa game, I like Moran in those north-south runs much better than trying to get to the outside.
Down and less than a yard.
I do too, Will.
I think that this is where you can
4th and
exploit a
1.
weakness for Camarillo. It's just running right behind your center and guards.
Yeah, or just a quarterback sneak here. You only need about a foot, so don't get too fancy.
It is a handoff. It is Moran, and it is good for a first down.
Yep, he's got it.
You only needed a foot, picked up about a yard and a half, and that's smart.
Lone Moran,
No
the
need to
ball
try to
carrier.
go for something to pick up 5 or 10 there. Trust your offensive line. Trust the ability for your center to win that battle against the nose
Brett Herron on
tackle.
the tackle.
Have your guards
Gain of
pretty
3
much guard
yards on the
center
play,
guard.
and Ventura
Get a hat
first
on a hat,
down.
get the first down, and now
Camarillo
you're
23
closing in on the
yard
red
line.
zone.
First and
This has
10.
been a really nice drive for Ventura, and they had to have one after the first 5 minutes of this game.
A reverse to the right side. Cougars trying to stretch it out. Schaefer makes it down to the 16-yard line. To me, it is a must-score
Christian
drive
Schaefer,
in
the
a
ball
lot of
carrier.
ways. And here we go again, Coach Cowan, with the Cougars back in the red
by
zone.
Brett Herron.
We've seen it before a whole lot in the 5 quarters we've
Gain of
covered
6
them.
yards on
We've
the
only
play.
seen them score 10 points.
Second down and
What
4.
needs to happen right now is you need some leadership from veteran players like Austin Litton, number 52 on the offensive line, and Ruben Santillan, his partner there, both seniors on the right side.
It's another handoff.
Moran,
This
the
goes
ball
over
carrier.
left tackle. And if it
close.
ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose. The running game's working now.
It's true, but you need those veterans to step up and lead the way in the red zones to play mistake-free.
Tackle by Anthony Feltzot.
They're giving them the first down. So 1st and 10 right outside the, 12-yard line. That's a good run. At this point,
13-yard
keep
line, and
feeding.
Ventura
We
first
mentioned
down,
feed
gain of 4
Mortensen. Well, if
yards.
he's not in there,
1st and 10.
Moran, pretty similar size. Mortensen, 6 feet, 170. Rowan Moran, 5'11", 170. Same similar type of back.
Cougars got back
Early
on
marker
track
down.
with a win
Dead ball foul. Offsides against Camarillo.
last week. And in that win over
The 5-yard
Saugus, remember,
penalty.
177 yards
Down
for
to the
Moran.
8-yard line.
That's the second
First
time
and
Camarillo's
5.
jumped. Boy, that has to kill a coach, doesn't it, Will? Especially when you have such a talented team.
Yeah, it looked to me like number 5, Ayala Luna or scratch that, number 5, Ryan for Camarillo jumped in a little early on his blitz and may have crossed the line.
1st and 5 from the 8 and get a first down, thus inside the 3 if you were doing your arithmetic. And I believe it is a first down.
Rowan
First and
Moran,
goal
ball
for the
carrier.
Cougars from the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I think Coach Garcia right now has to be saying, run
Over the
between the
2-yard
tackles.
line, gain of
Keep
6
running
yards,
between the
and
tackles.
Ventura first
Force
down.
Camarillo to have to stop it. It's one of those things you mentioned, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's working right now. It's not broken. Don't go away from that. Especially, we've seen over the past few weeks, teams get inside the 5, they commit a few penalties, and then they're backed up all the way outside the 10. No holding, be smart here, and I think you'll score.
Tried to go
I'm not
outside.
sure if it'll be on this play.
Tried to go outside.
Wow, look at the effort to pound that in by Moran. I was with you, Derry. I didn't think he was going to get into the end zone, but the Cougars are within a point. They run the ball right down Camarillo's throat. It's easily their
Rowan Moran, 2-yard touchdown run.
most effective way of moving the football in this game, just as it was when we saw him just a couple weeks ago, Will.
Yes,
Michael
sir.
Morrissey gets
Yes,
by the
sir.
extra
Coach
point.
Garcia must be happy with that effort that the big fellas up front have put in. And also a really nice job there by Tyler Smith maintaining the team's composure on that drive.
No pass attempts by Ventura at all.
Well, when I look at Ventura teams in the past, and it's kind of
Extra
funny,
point is good.
conducting this
3:06
commentary
remaining in
with
the
the
first
offensive
quarter.
coordinator
Camarillo
sitting
7,
right above us, although it's
Ventura
Brad
7.
Stewart. We've known him for a long time, haven't we, Will? And Derry, obviously, by the way. But I think it's interesting to see a Ventura team go into a game where they want to have long spells of possession to keep the ball out of a powerful offense's hands. It seems like we're used to seeing that from Ventura so much, where they're the powerful offense. But now the Cougars, I think, want to slow this game down and give Camarillo as few possessions as possible.
Well, and the fact that now you have it, if the offense can continue to run the ball, now you can start looking for that play action, and now you can start going to your receivers. You mentioned it, they kind of struggled passing the ball a couple weeks ago against Rio Mesa. This opens it up. If you continue getting 7, 8, 9 yards every time you're running between the tackles, the defense is going to have to bring an extra guy up in the box, and that will make things way easier for these wideouts.
Cougars to kick away.
Kicking off Ventura, Ian McKenzie.
It is a short kick. It will be fielded at the 20-yard line, taken up now to the 30, and the Scorpions will start from there. It was the up man, Brett Trebold, the linebacker, that returned it up to the 30-yard line. Deuce, anything interesting in the stats column that we need to keep an eye on thus far?
Well, just Moran has rushed 12 times for 47 yards in less than a quarter.
I think we learned with Mortenson's 28 first-half carries that that's not necessarily a sustainable approach.
Wouldn't think so.
First and 10 from the 31.
But we've seen this from Ventura football a long time. Peralta, look how many times he would carry it, 35, 38 times.
Yeah. With 181 seconds to go here. It's a nice little screen to the left-hand side. One play, and see ya later. Ryan Muscarella on the screen pass to the left side. So the Cougars march down the field methodically. It takes Camarillo one play to go 69 yards, and it's 13-7 Scorpions.
Great play by Muscarella, Will. That was just, it's one thing to put the throw in the money, but the separation and the speed was impressive.
To Ryan Muscarella.
There's no question there that another example of motion and shifting has got the Cougars outflanked. One missed tackle, and he takes it to the house.
Caden Muscarella to attempt the extra point.
That happened fast, and in some ways it may be challenging for the Camarillo defense to have to come right back on the field, but at the same time it certainly dashes the spirits, as the PAT is no good. Certainly dashes the spirits of a Ventura team that really put a lot into that touchdown drive.
The Cougar pace on offense, although they're running, they snap the ball very, very quickly. That Scorpion D may be a little tired. They will be tested right now.
I think you got to try and test Camarillo's depth then as well, obviously, from a defensive standpoint. And, high school defenses aren't terribly deep. It's just a fact of the game. At this level. And for Ventura, we'll see how well they run the football, but that Camarillo defense had to see that quick touchdown on the sidelines and think, oh boy, we have to go back out there?
Yeah, they were out in the field for a long time. They're happy they got the score, but you're right, they probably could have used a breather, maybe brought this early into the second quarter and taken the lead. But nonetheless, on the other side, for Camarillo, 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns for the Scorpions so far. Can't be any more efficient than that. And Muscarella, not a good sign for Ventura. He escaped so easily and then separated. And like you said, he was pretty much at the 30, and it was kind of see you later. So an impressive throw. And that's the type of throw I think going forward Ventura need more of, which is something quick, get a receiver in space, make a guy miss, and then try to go the distance. But Muscarella's fast, and that time, that was just a great route, great finish. And now, as you said, though, this defense is back on the field, hasn't really caught its wind yet.
69 yards on the screen pass for the touchdown, Ryan Muscarella. Muscarella on the season had only 92 receiving yards coming into the game, the senior. He did have over 250 return yards as well, so he's dangerous in the return game. It's another one of those Muscarellas. First and 10 for the Cougars. They'll actually throw on first down. It's an inside screen and complete for about 4 yards. I think Ventura ultimately made more out of that play than they initially had. It's a positive gain. It's just like running the football.
Pass complete to Roger.
Yeah, good little jailbreak screen there. Fairly well blocked, actually. Nice first down play, setting up a 2nd and 6 for the Cougars.
Gain of 4 yards on the play.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that play. That's fine. You can't, as you said, you can't expect Moran to rush it 45 or 50 times tonight. So you need to get it in other people's hands, and that's just basically a run extension.
It's Moran's 13th carry of the night as we near the 2-minute mark. When we break at the quarter, we will have scores for you from
tackle by Brett Trebold
around Ventura County. A lot of interesting games happening tonight. And we'll update you on
Third down
Oh,
and 6.
absolutely everything. Happening here on the VCSPreps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star. Fake for Smith. He'll throw on third down. Has a man open near side. Completes up to the 32-yard line. That's Eric Austin.
Eric Austin.
And that's where Zach Sauerwein would have come in, but a nice easy throw and catch. They're making it easy on Tyler tonight.
Yeah, so far Smith hasn't had to throw much, but it's been nice, simple, high percentage throws. And Eric Austin, we were actually able to see that number because it was near our side of the field. These white-on-white jerseys are a bit bothersome for us, but that time, good route, nice catch, and then you just pick up the first down.
Another throw, and it's again to the near side to Austin. Austin gets up to the 40-yard line. The clock will keep running. Will, what do those numbers look like down on the field? I mean, can you make them out from a good 30, 40 yards away?
They look like snowmen wearing black helmets. I feel like I'm in a blizzard. Nice sideline comeback route, though, from our man number 18.
Eric Austin,
Austin
back-to-back grabs. So 3 completions. Smith is 3 of 3 on this drive, establishing some confidence. One-on-one coverage on the far side, by the way. We'll see if Smith checks out of it. Instead, he just hands off Camarillo on a nice little run blitz, and it brings up third and medium.
Yeah, that time running right into the pressure. And you mentioned it, coming up and making the stop. That was one of the defensive linemen, maybe Feldstad, just coming in, or I should say Siegel. He came in and just stuffed the run. And that's what they were doing so well last possession, was running up the middle. Twice now this possession, when they've tried to do that, the adjustments from Camarillo have been there. They've done a really nice job against the run so far in this possession.
6 in the box from the Scorpions on that.
And a nice little slant route. Smith intended for Palacios, and he just couldn't bring it down.
A little bit behind him.
For Palacios.
A little bit behind, and I think Palacios kind of slipped as well. So unfortunate for Ventura here. They're going to have to punt it back. But that was good defense. The one adjustment that was made that I just said was stopping the run and forcing Ventura to have to throw the ball a bit more than they would like. That's a very good job by the Scorpions there. Now we'll have to see what Ventura's offense will do going forward. That's definitely a win for the Scorpions.
And Ventura looked to shift out of that formation, and a penalty flag is thrown. I think it might have been for delay of game. The back judge threw it, Deuce.
It couldn't have been delay game. I think they're counting jersey numbers with the back judge. The lines official, Tommy Husted, is looking over to see what's going on. Waved it off. I believe the back judge had a count of 12. There were only 11.
Camarillo only has 11 on the field.
Sounds like the kind of mistake I would make if I was a referee.
You were never a math major, Paige.
Remember, I had Mickey Perry. I had Dan Maxey, who was sitting to my left shooting video for the Ventura program.
As did I.
And look where we wound up. Fair catch called for by Muscarella at the 26-yard line. Important drive coming up for Ventura defensively. Anyone want to chime in with a brilliant defensive strategy, and I'll pass it up to the coaches behind us?
Ball placed at the 27-yard
I would say the one thing
line.
you need to do is just have responsibility on the back end. If you're going to get beat for something short, you can live with that. Make sure you get that initial tackle. It's yards after the catch is what you don't want to allow. Last time, quick play, and then Muscarella just took it the distance. It was 69 yards, but about 65 of it was after the catch. So that's the one thing you can't allow. You can live with a 5 or 7 yard gain, even a 15-yard gain. Need to let this offense work for their points and not get the home runs.
Certainly can't live with penalties, especially of the personal foul variety, and now Camarillo will be backed up inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, the one thing Ventura has been better so far tonight than Camarillo with is the lack of penalties. Camarillo, 2 offsides penalties when Ventura scored, and now they back themselves into the 15. That's just unnecessary. You don't need that. Those are mental mistakes. It's not like the other team got you and drove you into those mistakes. You need to avoid that if you're Camarillo.
3 wide receivers to the near side. This is a dangerous set for the Scorpions. Let's see what the Cougars do to cover it. Tostado, the near side wide receiver.
Well, it looks like it's 2 on 3.
Well, with the safe, there's actually 4 Cougar defenders near the trips coverage.
And they hand off to Otis.
Yeah, the Scorpions are doing the number game really well right now. The Cougars widened out to cover that third receiver, and they ran right from the area that was vacated.
We will now, in just a couple seconds, we're going to vacate the first quarter. As Camarillo has scored twice, missed one PAT. They lead Ventura 13-7 after one on the VCSPreps Game of the Week, presented by the Ventura County Star and on VCStar.com. Remember, VCStar.com is your local news site. Nowhere else can you find the most comprehensive and up-to-date news, sports, and entertainment. It's all about what's happening in your city and your neighborhood. Visit VCStar.com today, where Ventura County goes for news. The VC Star team was on the road this week as our own producer and camera operator, director Anthony Placencia was out in Washington, D.C. with the Pope covering that coverage. So obviously Ventura County Star and VCStar.com have you covered locally, but also with the national and international stories as well. Let's go through some scores here. An interesting boiling point between Pacifica and Buena. Daniel Moraga has been ejected for the Tritons. The VCSPreps Twitter says, quote, should follow us, by the way, at VCSPreps, it says, quote, the Buena player swung at him and he pushed back. Huge blow for the Tritons. Joe Curley, our reporter on the spot there.
Second down and 7 from the 17.
Boy, especially on defense, he's an outstanding defensive player.
He is such a difference maker, isn't he?
Almost went to Grace Brethren and then changed right before the season started.
Hand off to Otis. Otis tries to string it wide to the left-hand side, and he does get to the first down marker. Just sort of bouncing off one Cougar and then another, and he picks up about 8 yards.
Yeah, that was a nice run. Otis that time just stretched it to the outside, fought off the defender, kind of used a stiff arm, and that could have been a 5 or 6 yard gain. And like I said earlier, it's not just the yards after catch when you're throwing the ball, yards after contact when you run the football is significant, and that's twice tonight where Otis has done a good job after initially getting hit, staying up and picking up some extra yardage.
Constantine, straight drop, works to his right, and he overthrows his target on the near side. Colby Stevens, there's another one, Derry, that was really a solid contributor last year until he got hurt.
Yeah, he's a really an outstanding receiver and probably is the backup quarterback too, I would think.
Plays some time defensively, safety position.
And he ran a nice route there. That time the throw was just a bit behind him. So if that's on the money, that's a 15, 20-yard gain. So I like what I've seen out of Stevens so far.
Carry by Stevens.
Yeah, just
up
a
to
quick
the 36-yard, 35-yard line. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick throw to the outside. You let him gain it. It's basically a run. And you can tell that's one guy that they really want to go to, Will. They're seeing 26 here lined up on the short side of the field, and they fill one-on-one. Why not go to him?
Yeah, very similar to the Rio Mesa strategy. The Cougars had number 4, Boomer Martin, their strong safety there, but he got picked off by one of those big pulling tight ends out of the bunch formation.
3rd down and 4. Otis carries, and Otis is going to come up short. Well done defensively from the Cougars.
Yeah, that was an interesting play call. I know that they believe in their running game, but 3rd and 4, that's a lot of yardage to ask, and that was a big-time defensive stand by Ventura when they've needed one. Again, first 2 possessions, touchdowns on 3rd and 4. That was really well done. They won that battle up front, and now for the first time tonight, we're going to see the Scorpions punt the football. So Ventura needed that. They stepped up and made some plays.
Tostado has been doing their punting, averages about 32 yards a punt.
And he's the type of guy who, in this position of the field, you wouldn't ever be shocked if he takes off and maybe fakes it too. He's that athletic to make those type of plays.
Ventura had to use a timeout. They had only 10 players on the field. So this might be the biggest score of the night, guys, and I'll give you the rest of them. Wainimi is leading Rosamond 20-0 after the first quarter. And why is that significant? Because they've lost 18 straight. It would be a big night for the Wainimi Vikings to get their first win since 2013. At the end of one, Oak Park leads Santa Paula 14-6. Westlake on top of Dominguez 14-0. Oxnard trailing West Ranch in the second as they look to add to their winning streak. Josh Madison scores from a yard out to give Calabasas a 7-0 lead over Rio Mesa. Newberry Park leads Venice 14-6. St. Bonnie on top of Hart 7-0. And Scorpions set to come out and punt.
And now, Danny, it's neon night down there in the Scorpion Cyclone student section. We have a DJ down here. Are you going to maybe at halftime, are you going to fill in and play something?
Yeah,
you can spin something down there.
We're going to send Will up here, and I'm going to DJ at halftime.
Between the DJ, the band, and the fans, it is really loud down here. The fake punt.
And it's a fake from Camarillo onto the Cougar half of the field. Down inside the 30-yard line is Casey Bash. They gave it right to the up man, and he takes it all the way down to the Ventura 24, a 39-yard gain.
That's their second 39-yard gain tonight. They had the first one where they found the tight end down the seam, and then this time I said, well, I think they're capable of faking it here, and he took off. That was an easy pickup and a really good job by Bash. You can see those running back skills, good vision, just sort of found the seam and took off. So just as we said, it looks like Ventura is going to finally get him off the field and force a punt. Didn't quite happen.
And Ventura had just called a timeout as well in the special teams game.
That is a coach's nightmare. Now an empty formation from the Scorpions. No backs, 5 receivers. Now a little shift into the backfield.
And back out for Muscarella. Jake all by his lonesome back there, looking to his left side to throw. Now throws over the middle of Muscarella. He's got it inside the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown, Scorpions. It appeared that they would be forced to punt. A 39-yard gain on the fake, and then a 24-yard touchdown from Jake Constantine to Ryan Muscarella. It's 19-7.
Another big play, and Muscarella, as I said, making the yards after the contact, gets hit at the 5, keeps his balance, gets in there. Perfectly thrown by Constantine. He put that exactly where he needed to, and this is now 3 possessions. This offense has to feel like it's unstoppable because so far tonight it has been. What a throw, what a catch, and just when you thought the tide might be turning to the road team, Ventura, the fake punt kind of changes that whole story.
From a defensive standpoint, very difficult to guard when you go from seeing 2 tight end, 3 tight end formations to suddenly an empty formation with no backs. Caught the Cougars a little off guard there on the heels of a fake punt.
That's a great point. I think with this Camarillo team is they're so difficult to prepare for, and it feels like they've been, as a program, sort of building to this point over the last few years, and now they're so confident in what they can do offensively, Derry.
And when they're changing from the tight ends to wide out, it creates matchup problems. You've got to be really aware on defense on your personnel that you have out in the field.
And now it puts so much more pressure on this offense, though. And we know Tyler Smith, he's a senior. We understand he's been through the trials and tribulations with this team, but down 20-7, especially when your defense is now 0 for 3 on trying to stop the opposition, you almost feel like every possession you have to try to gamble, worst case, because now it's like, can we get enough stops? So if you're not scoring, that puts the pressure not only on the defense, it's so much now on number 7's shoulders. Tyler Smith, this is, I wouldn't say it's a must score, but the way this game's going, they need to be able to find a way to punch one in here, because otherwise, where do they go from here? This is huge, and maybe last possession they couldn't run the ball up the gut. Hopefully this time Ventura's figured it out. They can establish that run and take some of that pressure off Smith.
Ventura really needs to be within a score going into halftime, as they will get the ball, but I think it's important for the Cougars just to hang around in this game, complete beyond the 40-yard line. Nice throw and catch. And by the way, Christian Schaefer on the grab. Rico Stubbs was about one little break to the right from taking that return into Camarillo territory. He ended up being taken down at the 30-yard line, but a nice 14-yard gain for the Cougars.
Yeah, really nice start. That's a good one. And Smith, he's looked pretty good so far, but it's about what you do on these plays. Every time they've gone outside, it's been not only 0, they've lost yards, I think every time, but maybe 1, they might have gained 1 or 2. It's been rough sledding for them when they've tried to push it past the hashes. And this defense, maybe north-south is where they're weak, but you go east-west on them, and these linebackers and these safeties can really close very well on the outside.
To me, it seems like a simple formula. Run inside, throw outside, basically, for Ventura at this point. They're in a hole again, 2nd and 12. Smith changing things. At the line, he'll sprint out to the left side, throw back across to the near side hash, and that's good for a first down. It's Eric Austin again. So there is no Zach Sauerwein, but I think Smith is starting to feel more confident in his other options. Schaefer, and Austin.
Yeah, Austin's been very good. That's now his third catch of the game, and he's been their number one receiver target tonight. And Will, down on the field, it kind of looks like, Austin, anytime they can get a matchup that's favorable, why not go to number 18? He's been good this entire quarter.
I agree. He's one-on-one the whole game with the Scorpions playing a single high safety.
Here's
committing
Moran
to the run.
Here's Moran around the right side. Moran's down inside the 30-yard line. Will, what's your observation in terms of the size of Moran and his running style compared with Mortensen?
Well, what I like about him is he makes up his mind fairly quick. He's very decisive. He's a one-cut type of runner. Doesn't have the huge breakaway speed, but he's very consistent. And if the Cougars can keep this outside perimeter passing game going, I think they'll be in a strong situation.
Yeah, I remember against Rio Mesa, that's one thing we said when he came in. Mortensen's a bit more, takes his time, waits for something to happen. The patience is there. With Moran, it really is one cut, and he just goes.
And now he's trying to go around the left side, gets down inside the 20, and boy, he was thrown onto the long jump track, and he just bounces back up right in front of you, Dub C.
Yes, sir. There's a whole lot of people around just kind of navigating the officials, the coaches, and all the fans.
All of your fans.
I don't want to have to lower my shoulder at this point in my career.
Gain of 9 yards.
I don't think anybody wants you to.
Second down and 1.
14-0 TO leads Simi Valley. 2nd and 1 for Ventura. Smith in the pistol, motion man Schaefer. They give to him on the reverse. He just gets back to the line of scrimmage, may not even get that far.
Looks like a loss of 1 based on the spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure there. I don't really understand why you're trying to run to the far side of the field when you've been pretty good, pretty efficient up the middle. You're second in basically inches. Go with something that's worked, quarterback sneak, run with Moran. Instead, they tried doing the reverse, and it just doesn't, or I guess the jet sweep, and it just doesn't work that well. And now they're facing third and what looks to be almost 3 yards.
But they do pick it up. Moran picks his way inside the 15, now inside the 10. Moran down to the 5-yard line, 1st and goal for Ventura.
That was pretty impressive.
I have to say, number 41, Connor McDermott for the Cougars, putting in some work from that lead H-back position.
Well, and Will, that's not what the sophomore was going to be required to do this season for the most part. And he's really starting to have an impact offensively as well, as Moran cuts that back and gets about 2 yards, 2nd and goal from the 3.
And this is not good news for the Cougars. I do believe Moran is still down after the tackle.
At the 5-yard line, there is a Ventura player down.
Official timeout
and
for an injury.
We'll let you know who it is as soon as we do.
Yeah, Will was saying he thinks it's Moran, and all of a sudden this is the guy, your bell cow, somebody you can go to that you believe in as your main back. If this is indeed Rowan Moran, wonder where they turn from here.
Well, and again, I think one of the things that we enjoy most about doing high school football for the Ventura County Star and in Ventura County is the ability to tell stories of young players. And Moran is someone who came into the season who was probably only going to get a few carries here and there, and in the 6 quarters that he's really gotten an opportunity, he's been outstanding. And to have him go out here.
We've seen that, I mean, almost year after year, Ventura has like that type of a guy that comes in for the starter and does really well.
You're right. There has always been that next level player, isn't there? And we hope that Moran is all right. He's still down on the 5-yard line. He is up to his feet.
He may have knocked the wind out of himself. They weren't really checking any of the extremities. It was more of a cautionary measure, it does appear. Could have just got the wind knocked out of him. He was running a little high on that play.
Yeah, and he does seem to be it seems like he's breathing in a little bit of a funny manner, if I can observe from here, just the way he's carrying himself. Well, we'll have a look at him on the bench, and we'll close our eyes and point at the roster and try to figure out who's filling in for him, because these white numbers
if I'm Coach Stewart here, I might go with one of those play-action bootleg passes, get Smith on the run, either a simple throw or maybe let him run for it himself at this juncture in the game.
Here
down
are the
2
Cougars,
scores.
though, but they're back in the red zone. It's where they've struggled, or where they did struggle the most in the Rio Mesa loss, the 21-10 defeat we had here on the Game of the Week. Just so
double fullback
weeks ago.
alignment
Clark
here.
Mortensen.
And he is absolutely stuffed. Colin Kirksey makes a big play.
Brock Mortensen, the ball
And
carrier.
Mortensen
Colin Kirksey
back in the game,
with the tackle.
getting the carry.
Yeah, I guess if you need him in there, even though he's banged up. You have to go with one of the guys that you can at least rely upon. And now it's 3rd and 4. You're down 20-7. I'm not saying you have to run it here to set up 4th down, but it wouldn't be the worst idea, because I think if you give it to Mortensen a couple times, he might be able to get there.
3rd and goal, trying to stretch the right side, and goes for
Carter Woodruff, the
little
ball
or
carrier.
no game.
Carter Woodruff on that carry, number 33.
Who's a standout linebacker for
No gain
Ventura,
on the play.
Woodruff.
If it's me right now, I'm 1-on-1 with my man number 18, Eric Austin.
Although he's going against Tostado, who is
Bring
a
up 4th down and goal.
sizable
From the 4.
corner at 6
Well-
foot 287 pounds, but there might be space on that little slant route.
That's true, but he's way inside on his alignment. If he ran a little in and out pattern, he'd have great success toward our near sideline.
And Ventura will use their
Ventura.
final timeout. 5:57 to go. What do you do here, guys? What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you are going to go for this, which it looks like, I agree with Will. You should probably go to Austin. He's been your most reliable target. It appeared one-on-one coverage, so you just tell your receiver, we believe in you, you're better than that guy, go up and get the ball, and then you hope for the sake of Tyler Smith, he puts it on the money and gives his receiver something to run under and go up and get.
You likely give him a 2-way go. If the defender's on the outside, you work to the inside. Vice versa, you can work back away. One-on-one pattern, you work on it every day since spring ball. Now's when you need it on a clutch 4th down.
Might want to try an option for Smith to get out of the pocket. He throws well on the run. That Camarillo defense is so sucked into the center of the field. There's so little happening on the outside that if you drag a tight end with the quarterback, he might be able to get outside the linebackers.
Yeah, I think the one
Good
big
call.
problem is, though, the wide side of the field is a right-handed thrower moving to his left. If it was the opposite, better chance you bring him out and you give him that space. It'll be tough for him to pull that off.
Similar formation for the Cougars. He'll motion a player to the left side, and it'll be a handoff. No, it's a play fake, and it's knocked down by Brett Trebold. Ventura had a tight end wide open on the goal line, but Trebold was right there to smack it down.
Great play call, just unfortunate for Ventura that Trebold went and made that play. If he doesn't deflect that, it's a touchdown. That's 6. What a play by the linebacker, coming up there, making the stop, the senior Trebold. So you have to give some credit that time. Great play call. Unfortunate for Ventura that Camarillo made the play. What a job by Trebold.
It certainly is. I mean, he's probably their best defensive player. But, hey, they really missed Moran, when he was out of the game. It kind of changed what Ventura could do.
He's still being looked at on the 45-yard line, on the bench adjacent to the 45-yard line. And we'll see what Camarillo can do from their own 4-yard line now.
Here comes that shift again.
And they will run to that side, Will. Otis cuts it back, and Otis gets a good 10 yards.
The Cougar defense is just outnumbered at the point of attack, Danny. It's a simple numbers game, and the Scorpions are winning, especially with big number 39 out there blocking Hale Gavin.
Out to the 13-yard line, a gain of 9 yards on the play.
9 yards for Otis. Tostado. Have they even targeted Frankie tonight?
I don't think so.
And it's only because they really haven't entirely needed him. Here's a carry from Otis. Otis barreling forward. He's picked up, 23 yards in 2 carries after starting in the shadow of his own goal line.
Yeah, it wasn't even touched until he was tackled 15 yards upfield. So impressive run, but at the same point, if your blockers are going to block that well, it makes it pretty easy for the running back. 5 minutes left. If you're Ventura here, you have to man up and find a way to get some sort of stop, maybe a turnover. You might have to just try to force one, whether you hit the quarterback and sack him, get that football on the turf. Maybe if it's the running game, try to strip them. Something to give your offense the ball back before this half ends.
Sean Chisholm comes off. It's a little screenplay to Otis. Otis picks up a block at the 35, and he's knocked back right at the 40-yard line, but another first down for the Scorpions.
Too easy so far. 3 plays. They're picking up yardage consistently on all 3 plays. This has been a really nice drive by Camarillo, and as I said for Ventura, it seems like their defense doesn't have many answers right now, whether it's the running game, the passing game. Right now the Scorpions are hitting on all cylinders.
4.5 minutes to go. As you see, great to have the clock in the bottom right part of your screen. It makes our jobs a lot easier. Tostado, the lone receiver on the far side, they got to throw to him at some point, guys. He only has 15 catches on the year.
Well, they don't have to. They probably should, but the way it's working right now, maybe it's almost like a disguise or a decoy. I'm with you. Eventually, you're going to see Tostado get the ball, but for now, they've been pretty effective going elsewhere.
But I think that's the story of the season here, really. You have Rio Mesa. Camarillo went to Rio Mesa to open the season 51-17. They take on the defending Northern Division champions, Paso. They beat them 41-14. Then it's at Arroyo Grande, a 27-13 win, and then a 63-21 win over Simi Valley. They haven't had to show all their cards yet.
No, they really haven't. But it's just a very efficient offense. I mean, you just can't. They're making it very difficult for the defense to really get set to cover everybody.
That game here against Thousand Oaks on October 30th will be something special. Although you think Newberry Park probably, Cameron Rising will have something to say about that league race.
And what's Will going to dress up at on the sidelines? That's Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
Will's going to be on the sideline. I don't know exactly what he's going for, but he has to have some sort of costume ready to go.
I'm thinking about Elvis, guys. What do you think?
I like it. I actually have pushed for the broadcast team to dress in Halloween costumes one year.
Tell you what I'm keeping an eye on here is big number 66 for the Scorpions. Kyle York, the left tackle. Phenomenal job in protection and on his lead blocks.
Did just enough there to hold off the Ventura defensive lineman, and Constantine did enough to bring up 3rd and 1.
That was a great play by Constantine. That time the pressure did come from that left side, and he just went with it, went the other way, and picked up a good 8 or 9 yards. And that's what you need out of your quarterback. Constantine so far has not made that one mistake. Ventura's begging him. They're pleading, make one mistake, please. And so far, he's been pretty flawless.
Well, these two both quarterbacks, I should say, started as sophomores. They didn't get to play against each other at that time as Constantine was hurt. Quick swing pass to the left-hand side, complete to Colby Stevens. And Stevens is corralled down at the 47-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Scorpions.
Yeah, Stevens is dynamic. They've used him a bunch of different ways, and he's been really effective. And then what that does is when you have a guy like Stevens, you can give Otis a little bit of a breather, give it to Stevens very quick near the line of scrimmage, get Otis that quick breather, get a swig of Gatorade or water, and now come back in and be a bit more fresh.
Just too many weapons for this Camarillo team.
That's a good problem to have for Coach Willard and crew, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's never a bad thing.
And now here's Stevens on the inside toss, and that goes for no gain as well. And I think that it's interesting that we have 3 minutes to go in the second quarter, and it's the first time, Will, that we're mentioning Jack Willard. And to be honest, I think that's how Jack Willard would like it. You know, he's a lunch pail business type head coach, and he
who flies with the Blue Angels.
I wasn't aware of that.
He went up with the Blue Angels, I think it was Wednesday. Had the whole team out there.
And now Constantine stretching the field. Muscarella, and he makes a circus catch inside the 10-yard line. 43 yards. 1st and goal, Scorpions. It's the first time they've really tried to stretch the field, and Muscarella is up over 100 yards receiving on the night.
Yeah, I guess my big question would be, why did he only have 92 yards coming into today? Muscarella has been tremendous downfield. He has been the best player on the field in terms of what I've seen. What a catch, what a throw. Those two, number 8, number 5, they've been great together.
Jake now looking to throw to Tostado. Fade route. No, it's knocked away, pulled away at the last minute. It looked like Frankie went up and made a fantastic grab, but great coverage defensively on the far side from the Cougars.
Can we go back to Coach Willard for a second, guys? One of the things that Camarillo's done so well over the years is their teachers and coaches, they've been here forever. If you think back from Thompson to Festerling to Reed Miller, Willard, they've all been teaching here for decades, it seems, and they just keep turning this program in the right direction.
And he's got one of the best defensive minds.
He does.
In the county. Long time at Newbury Park, former head coach at Channel Islands.
And they'll throw it to Tostado again. And this time, Frankie brings it down. Frankie says relax. Touchdown, Camarillo, 26-7.
Yeah, the first time it looked like he should have had it. Great job to strip it away. That time they say, let's just go back to our big 6'2" receiver. And you mentioned, Danny, you said they're going to go to him eventually. That's a good spot to go to the big-bodied receiver.
Tostado with his 5th touchdown on the season. He has 5 touchdowns in 16 total catches. Some Division I baseball offers. Told the Ventura County Star this morning, you never know. I might go to a school where I could walk on and play football. I'm not sure what the baseball coach that offers him a scholarship. Wouldn't necessarily think about that.
Ventura 7.
Will, talk to us a little bit more about your interactions with Coach Willard and what you think he brings to the table as a head football coach now at Camarillo.
Well, he's so organized. He's a tremendous defensive mind. He was on the staff all the way back into the 90s when Borchard was around here chucking the ball around the yard. So he's got a great defensive mind. He's very organized. He's also had a tremendous run in softball. He's well respected in the community. And that might be the key as I look through the stadium tonight. The community and the students are out in full force, and that is a credit to Coach Willard rallying this great city behind the Scorpions.
He's alumnus. He was a former quarterback for Camarillo.
That's
if I
right.
remember correctly.
He. I mean, I don't know the exact year, Deuce, but where was he in that '84 team that won the CIF?
I'm not sure if he was on that team.
I think he was later.
Stubbs will pick this up at the 1, takes it from the 5-yard line, and he'll be taken down there. So Ventura with their backs to the goal line, and Camarillo with 2 timeouts left. If Ventura's forced to punt, they'll have a chance to score again, Camarillo.
Yeah, all of a sudden you get them pinned inside their own 5, and you're right. If it's a couple short runs, you can burn a couple timeouts. Chances are, if this is a 3-and-out, you get great field position. And the way this offense is moving with Muscarella and Tostado, you like your chances. Ventura, it's almost a must here to at least get a first down. And worst case, you get to the half down 20, because otherwise this could set up for some real failure. These first 2 downs here are very significant.
Hey, you've been saying must for about the last 3 Ventura series.
Yeah, and they haven't been able to really pull much out of it.
I think I understand what he was saying, though. That's the unfortunate part.
The Cougars still in the no huddle here. This is interesting. Hopefully they run the play clock down here and they're not in too big of a hurry.
I guess they're saving the 2 timeouts for after 2nd down.
At the high school level as well, it's not a bad idea to try and hold on to 1 timeout. I think that can be beneficial in terms of giving your quarterback at least 1 mistake.
Yeah.
Carried up to the 10-yard line, and now Camarillo will burn
Carter
their
Woodruff, the ball carrier.
first timeout. We'll take a timeout at halftime, mind you, on the VCSPreps Game of the Week presented by the
Colin Kirksey.
Ventura County Star. If you like being in the know, subscribe to the Ventura County Star and discover what's happening in your neighborhood. At a price less than your daily cup of coffee, you can be informed and stay in the know. Sign up today at vcstar.com. Santa Barbara leads Royal 14-7. Westlake 28. Dominguez nothing. How about that win for Westlake last week, guys? The first win for the Warriors over a Pac-5 school. And obviously the game went final after we were done, but that's a big win for Tony Henney, isn't it, Derek?
It really is. You know, they may be the number 1 team in Ventura County. I know people, it's torn between Thousand Oaks, Oaks Christian, and Westlake as to who's the number 1, and Camarillo's in the conversation as well. But, I watched that game on TV this past week, and, boy, they really look good in the second half especially.
Well, Derry, those are the top teams according to the writers, the staff at the Ventura County Star. But did you know now if you go on VCSPreps.com, you can vote for the top 10 football teams in Ventura County. And the number one team was a bit of a surprise. I'll tell you who it was after this play.
I already know who it is.
Smith runs to the right side. He picks up about a yard, and Camarillo will use their final timeout. Who was it, Derry?
Oxnard.
It was the Oxnard Yellow Jackets who got 163 first-place votes. They stuffed the ballot box. Oaks, they're 3-1 though. It just shows you how excited they are about John Mack's football program.
Well, if you're just going off fourth quarters, then we know they are the definitive number one team.
Right. That's true. Oaks Christian was second. Westlake was third. Calabasas was fourth. Followed by St. Bonaventure, T.O., Camarillo, Newbury Park, Moore Park. 163 first-place votes. Again, it shows you how excited, Will, Oxnard High is about what Coach Mack's doing.
That comes with the territory. Coach Mack is a tremendous community motivating type of coach. He's going to go out there and get a lot of people really excited to come play. They're going to believe in that product. They're going to fundraise. They're going to do everything they need to do to build a great program.
What was he like to work with at VC?
Very high energy. Has definitely a hard worker, comes in early, leaves late. Really a grinder that gets and works hard, but get a lot of people excited about his product.
Back to receive for Camarillo, Ryan Muscarella.
Muscarella back to receive. That's something you never want to say, never want to hear.
With Elijah Alexander.
Alexander back as well, and it'll be Alexander that'll take this over the shoulder from the 45-yard line, his own 45, stretching to the right beyond midfield. Now a cut back at the 40. Alexander down to the 35, and he's tackled down at the 33-yard line. 61 seconds, 0 timeouts, 33 yards.
Yeah, that's a lot of time. Obviously, the clock stops on any first down or when you go out of bounds. And Muscarella, Tostado, and then, of course, Isaiah Otis, he's shown the ability out of the backfield. They've had some serious weapons. Colby Stevens is the guy, though, I think you really have to watch here with this short field. He's a weapon, whether it's in the backfield or on something short. And like Will has mentioned, those big guys up front, they're blocking really well, specifically on that left side. I wouldn't be surprised if they try for something short with Stevens and see if he can make a couple guys miss. Because with 1 minute left at the 33, you can run several plays until you really have to worry about starting to spike it.
They're just going straight to Tostado, though. At the 5-yard line, Tostado as it goes off his hands. And good coverage on the far side again from the Cougars.
Good throw by Constantine. He put it where it needed to. Anytime it touches your receiver's hands, that's a fairly good throw by the quarterback. Second time now in 3 pass attempts, though, the cornerback has stepped up and made a play.
And really he made a nice play on Tostado on the completed touchdown pass as well. He's just a matchup nightmare, really, for most high school corners. Constantine looking to his right, throws short at the 26. And that's complete to Stevens. Clock stops at 48 seconds.
Complete to Colby Stevens.
Yeah, now if you're Camarillo here, you can try for something to just go past the sticks. Worst case here, you feel like you've really dominated this half. You've been extremely efficient offensively, but this is 4-down territory. I mean, I guess unless you have a kicker with a big-time leg, it would be a 45-yard attempt. You can attempt to go for something deep here and then go for 4th and medium. So there are some real options.
One of the backup quarterbacks, Thomas Jenke, steps in. It's an inside screen to Stevens. He's tackled down from behind at the 25. He's short of the first down. So the clock will continue to run. Camarillo will call a play, and if they pick up the first down, they'll probably have about 20 seconds left.
Gain of 3 yards down to the 25-yard
4th down
line.
And 2. It'll be Muscarella, Jenke, and Tostado split to the far side. Alexander and Stevens to the near. Constantine, quick drop, he'll run, should pick up the first down, and he gets out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Well done from Constantine. 17 seconds, 15 yards to go. They can do it.
Yeah, and that was a 10-yard gain, and that was just one of those plays. Really, the coverage was outstanding on the back end, but the defensive lineman never really challenged him, so he was able to pick up the first down, gain a few extra yards.
Yeah, likely if you're the Scorpions with no timeouts, you got to either throw it in the end zone or work the sidelines here. couple shots probably in 17 seconds.
A couple shots to Frankie Tostado, I think. He's lined up on the far side. It's Kristen Schaefer that's guarding him. Constantine looking right all the way, then completes it along the far side. Diving for the goal line is Isaiah Otis, and he's in. Otis just pulled away from the linebacker and the corner, and it's 33-7 Scorpions.
Well, good call on Tostado there, guys. In fact, half of the white jerseys followed him on his inside route, opening up the outside for the touchdown.
Yeah, it took them a little while to signal the touchdown, but a 15-yard gain. And that was a great effort by Otis. That's been a few times tonight where he's got the ball in space, made a guy miss, and ultimately scored. Great play by Constantine, and now I think it's pretty safe to say this offense has been flat out unstoppable this entire game.
Really what turned it around was that fake punt call. Yeah, and obviously the big stop by Trebold on fourth down.
Yeah, that changed the entire face of this game, because if you get the ball back, you're down one score. It's looking pretty good. Instead, they go down, pick up a huge chunk gain, and then ultimately get a 2-score lead. And that really was, to this point, that's been the turning point of this ball game.
Well, one of the reasons we went for this game is there weren't a lot of great matchups tonight between two Ventura County teams. One of the reasons we went for this game tonight is because we wanted to see this Camarillo team for the first time. And boy, have we seen them. I mean, 34 points. They have just been utterly unstoppable, Deuce.
They really have. And, hey, they've gone a couple of really long drives, 86 yards and 95 yards. It doesn't matter where they're in the field. They're just a huge threat with all the talent they have, all the weapons.
Yeah, they're running the 2-minute drill. They've had a long sustained drive. They've had big plays. They can throw the ball vertically. They can throw screen passes. They have a quarterback who can run. They've made smart special teams plays and a big play on fourth down. What have they not done tonight?
And realistically, the skill position guys, we mention their names a lot, but the MVP of the first half, it's that offensive line. That offensive line has given Constantine all the time he's needed, and it's given him great holes to run through if you're Otis. So that offensive line, an A effort in the first half, they've been the real difference. They've dominated up front.
Camarillo certainly is dominated on the scoreboard. They lead 34-7 at the break over Ventura on the VCSPreps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star.
We could have the wrestling team go to the track, or to the field. Tonight we will be honoring the first ever Camarillo CIF Northern Division Champion Wrestling Team from last year. This historical wrestling team won the first CIF Wrestling Championship in the storied school history of wrestling champions. In addition, the Scorpion Grapplers were the first Coastal Canyon League champions, and also having 10 out of 14 individual weight class champions. The wrestling program is the only athletic program to ever win a league title in 4 different leagues in Ventura County. The Channel League, the Marmonte League, the Pacific View, and now the Coastal Canyon. Not only are these young athletes winners, they are incredible young men who make our school proud. From here on, they will always be known as the team, your CIF champion, Camarillo Scorpion Wrestling Team. The players were John Ariola, Augie Buchanan, Storm Castillo, Jacob Carrera, Sean Kraus, Andrew De Santiago, Jacob Dorman, Michael Dorman, Brian Jolliker, Chandler Lemon, Darren Kodama, Alec Medina, Jeremy Montijo, Vincent Kleiermeyer, Jason Ramirez, Daniel Varner, Chase Varney, Colton Watkins, Logan Watkins, and J.P. Castillo Papke, head coach and former wrestler for the Scorpions, Ron Wilson, assisted by Diego Pena, Matt Hickman, and Devon Mandragon. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank these young men and women for presenting their school for the first ever the CIF Championship in wrestling. Thank you. While we're waiting for the cheerleaders, the Booster Club would like to give an update on the field. We are still waiting for some approval processes. It still looks like we could have the field started in December. No matter what the rumors are, we are moving forward. There are a few obstacles, and we appreciate your patience and those of you who have donated so generously. And we wanted again to have you guys refer to the insert for those people that we left out in the list in the media guide, including the Dawson family, the Tucker family, Pacheco's, and Cornejo families. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Camarillo Scorpion Varsity Cheer Squad. And now on the field, here comes the Marching Scorpions. The Marching Scorpions are under the direction of Drum Major Aaron Talbutan and Assistant Drum Major Vincent Belvedere. They will be performing a portion of their 2015 competitive field production, Danza de la Peruca, by Manuel de Falla and arranged by Bill Garcia. And now under the direction of Aaron Tabukan, the Marching Scorpions. Before the band, the ACHS Song Leaders. And now the Scorpion Marching Band. And their new leader, Daniel Cook. We wish them well in their future competition that's coming up in the next week. ladies and gentlemen, the Camarillo Scorpion Marching Band. The Scorpions would like to thank the band boosters for their support and dedication to the growth of this music department. Mr. Daniel Cook would like to thank the administration and staff for its support. The students put in hours of work in their field show and the pep tunes and the music, and would love to see you at one of our shows. Our next show will be at the Sounds of Conejo at Thousand Oaks High School on Saturday, October 3rd. We look forward to seeing you there. Some scores around the county. Halftime, Calabasas 7, Rio Mesa 3. Halftime, Thousand Oaks 28, Simi Valley 7. St. Bonaventure 21, Hart 17 at the half. Oxnard 14, West Ranch 14. Royal 16, Santa Barbara 14. All halftime scores.
What are all those offset players?
Again, ladies and gentlemen, the cheerleaders are having a fundraiser at Applebee's on October 18th and October 25th. $10 per ticket for a pancake breakfast. You can get your tickets down at the Spiritware table under the tent towards the scoreboard side. It's $10 a ticket. It's a pancake breakfast at Applebee's on October 18th and October 25th. It'd be great if you could participate and help with the cheerleaders.
This is something new, the Casper Slide Part 2, featuring the Platinum Band, and this time we're gonna get funky. Funky. Everybody clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. All right, now, we're gonna do the basic step. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. Right foot, let's stop. Left foot, let's stop. Cha-cha, real smooth.
Anthony.
Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. Right foot, let's stop. Left foot, let's stop. Cha-cha now, y'all.
Back at Camarillo High School on the VCSPreps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star. My name is Danny Page. With me, the Deuce Derry Eads, Kent Brown, and down somewhere on the field, where's that bright orange shirt? Will Cowan's down there somewhere amid the neon teenagers for Camarillo. 34-7. Camarillo leads Ventura. And Scorpions will receive the kickoff. More of the same, don't you think?
Yeah, so far it's just been a one-sided dominant effort by Camarillo, and it's been that up front. Defensively, offensively, they've dominated the line of scrimmage, and then, of course, when they've gotten in the red zone, they've scored touchdowns, much like Ventura's story a few weeks ago. When they got in the red zone, only found the way to get one.
Muscarella runs a long way from the left side right to the middle of the field, and would have worked as well as a touchback. He gets back to the 20-yard line. And Derry, as you look at what this Camarillo team was capable of doing offensively, they spread the ball around. Muscarella had a couple big plays, but their balance is what was most impressive to me.
Really is. And, you know, Constantine had 4 touchdown passes in the first half, so he moves to number 2 all-time Camarillo career touchdown passes,
Camarillo will begin
going past Joe Borchard.
Travis Valdez is all that's left. 61 is the school record. I would think Jake will get there. Throws to the left-hand side to Isaiah Otis. Otis at the 25 and beyond the 30. And I think Will's down there. Will, what's up, man?
Danny, was that you? I'm getting a little feedback
Hunter
here.
Woodruff on the tackle.
Yes, it was us. How are things down on the field? What's
Good.
kind of the tempo?
Yep, back down here, getting a good look at that scorpion spread offense.
Camarillo is going to bring it back.
Yeah, I think that's one component that Will talked about early on that we obviously can look at a little bit more in the second half. What Camarillo offers on the offensive line, and it looks like they're predominantly controlling the line of scrimmage and holding penalty, by the way, against that aforementioned Camarillo offensive line, but it looks like they're pretty dominant as well to go with all these skill players.
Yeah, really the only negatives there's been for Camarillo all game are the few penalties that they've had, a couple on defense, now a couple on offense. Outside of that, when the ball's been snapped, they have really done some good things. So overall, this offensive line has been very good up front, and they're making – Otis is a nice running back, but they're making it much easier for him than it's been on the other side for whether it's been Moran or Mortensen.
Well, Otis is looking to become the first Camarillo back with over 1,000 yards since Aussie Talk in 2009. And to me, with how strong these Camarillo offenses have been, that's a little bit of a staggering figure, Derry. We talked about that in the pregame, but obviously they've thrown so much to players like Conrad Kataki, but Otis seems to be more of a natural runner.
Yeah, I mean, they've also had some injuries along the way with some of the really good running backs, but they definitely have been a great passing team.
Coming out with a little bit of a lull, though, to start this second half. 3rd down and 7 now.
Yeah, holding penalty. They're in 3rd and long that time. Not a great throw, but not also a really good route. It's been so easy for Muscarella and Constantine to be on the same page tonight. That was one time they haven't been. And now Ventura's trying to desperately get them off the field. This is where you want them, 3rd and 7. Clearly a passing down. Need to come up. I would bring some pressure here and really challenge Constantine and try to make him have a quick decision as opposed to sit back and take his time.
Constantine throwing downfield for Stevens, and Stevens makes the grab at midfield. First down inside the 30-yard line for Colby Stevens. 48 yards on the gain.
He put that exactly where it needed to be, away from the corner. That time kind of bracket coverage, and yet Stevens comes up with it. And Stevens has been great near the line of scrimmage. That time it was a downfield pass. A lot of the times that's been Tostado or Muscarella. They go to the third option this time, and he steps up. Beautiful throw, and it's almost hard to believe Constantine's not getting – maybe he'll start getting more looks, but right now he looks like a pretty strong prospect. He's thrown the ball, whether it's been that fade throw on short routes, the quick passes, and now the deep throw away from the defense. He's been good. Pretty much every throw you can make on the field, he stepped up tonight, and he's delivered.
And the key is he has so much time to make those decisions.
By Rico Stubbs.
Couldn't agree more, Will. He's got a ton of time. He's calling the shots with this offense, not just throwing the football. A quick give to Otis, and Otis is taken down inside the 15. Will, you've seen Camarillo plenty over the years. To me, Otis seems like a more natural runner than a lot of the backs we've seen.
Yes, he is. And, he's very patient. And with the mobility of his offensive line, he sets up the block so well, and then he finds those little creases.
Back toward Tostado, and that looks like it's intercepted by Schaefer. It's picked off by the Cougars in the end zone, and a touchback.
Yeah, that time one of probably the only real missed throw. Maybe there's one that's been behind a receiver. He was trying to go to that fade on the far side of the field, left it way too inside, and that was a heck of a pick to get the foot down and make the grab. So the one time Constantine has kind of given this defense some hope. They took it from him. Great interception, and now just what Ventura needed. Finally a forced turnover, and they get the ball back.
It's like about the 5th or 6th interception by the Ventura defenses this season.
Yeah, they've shown that capability that they have had for a long time to create turnovers.
Yeah, and they've been in pretty good position. You mentioned it, Danny, earlier. Even though they gave up a passing touchdown to Tostado, they were there. These cornerbacks have been in position here throughout this game. It's just so far tonight, Camarillo's receivers have stepped up and made the plays. That time, heck of an interception, and they needed that. So, Deuce, you're right. They've been able to capitalize off that in the past. And finally, it's been Ventura kind of flipping the switch. Their defense has been opportunistic. The offense has struggled in the red zone. Now it's the defense making headways on that side.
Now they're going with the third-string running back, Moran.
There's that bootleg.
Woodruff.
Excuse me, Derry. There's that bootleg Danny was talking about earlier from the Cougars, the tight end drag across the middle.
Well, I was reprimanded on the way to the broadcast booth by Brad Stewart and Bob Gregorchuk, Ventura assistants, because, Will, they technically do not have a tight end, is what I was told.
Sorry, in the new wave of football, they have H-backs.
It's an H-back, and there are quite a few of them, and that should be an offside penalty against the Scorpions.
It's just like offensive linemen that don't put their hand on the ground. It's the new age of football.
The 5-yard penalty.
Third time tonight, Camarillo's had an offside. So
penalties are a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, that's the one thing so far, if anything, they have to clean up, is the fact that they've had some defensive penalties, specifically on that line.
So 1st and 5, give wide to the left side, and toss out of bounds is Schaefer.
I think any coach would rather see an aggressive penalty
than a mental mistake.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. You can live with that. It's not a 15-yard killer. It's not something where you're getting a post-play personal foul. But nonetheless, your defense, there will be games this year where it's not quite this lopsided on the scoreboard, where giving a team a free 5 yards a few times will be, that'll hurt you a lot.
First down for the Cougars, actually a backward pass.
Pass complete to Boomer Marin.
As that's complete to the 47.
Sorry, that pass was complete to Carter Woodruff.
Carter Woodruff on the completion.
Justin Graycheck on the tackle. Down to the Camarillo 47.
And Ventura is into Camarillo territory, trailing by 27, but a nice drive here.
A first down.
Yeah, at this point, you want to be able to get some points, at least make it somewhat of a ball game, even if it takes a little while. You're down 27. Your defense just forced the turnover. You need to be able to reward your defense here with some sort of score, whether it's a field goal, a touchdown. And you're in plus territory, so now you can get a bit creative, try to go for 4 downs. And Woodruff, we've already seen Mortensen, we've seen Moran. Woodruff has looked pretty good out of the backfield, too.
The third string back as Moran left with an injury in the second quarter. Toss to the ground. Third down and 8 now for Ventura.
Gavin Hale with the tackle.
That's tough. You're all the way down to your third string running back.
Bring up third down and 8.
And it's 3rd and 8. See what Tyler Smith can do. A quick snap. Blitz coming. Inside screen. It's really exactly the play you want to have called when the defense brings a blitz, but incomplete off the hands of the intended target.
Yeah, that time the defense did come with pressure. If that's on the money, that's probably a first down, but unfortunate, it's slightly behind the receiver, and now it looks like Ventura's going to have to punt. But that's also what pressure does. When you pressure the quarterback, he's way more likely to not get that pinpoint accurate throw.
Well, they took the H-back Connor McDermott out of the backfield and had him downfield blocking.
Muscarella back to receive. Snap is low, but punt is away. It'll bounce at the 15, and now inside the 10. I will say this about Muscarella. He's a smart punt returner as well. He really knows when to back off and when to run with it.
And you just committed the turnover on offense. The last thing you want to do is somehow bobble that, give Ventura the ball in the red zone. So the way your offense has been moving the ball, let them down it inside the 10. You still feel pretty good about your offense.
First and 10.
Get you some other scores here on the VCSPreps Game of the Week, presented, of course, by the Ventura County Star. Paso Robles leads Nordhoff 35-13. Villanova leads Lone Pine 34-6. Vuka Bradovic with a 1-yard TD run for Grace. They're up 21-0. San Ynez 42. Fillmore nothing. They cannot recover tonight from that tough defeat to Santa Paula. We prognosticated they'd have problems with Santa Ynez tonight. 1st and 10 from the 6. Here's a give to Otis, and he gets about 4. Royal 30, Santa Barbara 14. Royal scored 23 points in just over 2 minutes late in the second quarter. Oaks Christian 28, Birmingham 7. Thousand Oaks 28, Simi Valley 7. Rio Mesa's homecoming, former MLB player Dimitri Young was honored. Newberry Park 35, Venice 13. St. Bonnie's jumped in front of Hart 21-17. Remember the Cougars as another bad snap, fumbled in the exchange between Constantine and the center, but Constantine falls on it. Just to finish these scores before we send it down to Will, Oak Park 28, Santa Paula 18, Oxnard 14, West Ranch 14. Will is with a, what do we want to say, a VIS, very important Scorpion. Dennis Reed Miller, the former head coach, a great guy who we normally have on the broadcast each year as a part of this game. Will, take it away.
A few comments down here on the field with Coach Dennis Reed Miller, longtime Scorpion. As we have a long breakaway run here, let's give this a play a second.
Otis still on his feet. Looked like he was about to slip and fall at the 45. He made a one-handed catch at about the 10-yard line, just corralled that in and took it all the way down to the 30-yard line. What a play from Isaiah Otis, 59 yards.
So, Danny, you ready for little Coach Reed Miller right here?
Take it away.
Coach, talk to us about Coach Willard and the job he's done rallying this community around the program.
Oh, he's done a great job since he took over in 2013. He's got a great group of kids. This senior class he has was probably one of my better freshman classes I ever had. So they're full of talent, and I get, the key, Will, as well as anybody does, they got to stay healthy.
9 yards on that play, and Camarillo first down.
Healthy, and then Coach, looks like there's quite a few choices on offense to spread the ball around with the Scorpion team.
Yeah, it's always nice to have about 4, 5, 6 guys that you can get the ball to, and when they get the ball, they can bring it at any time.
Absolutely. Coach, talk to us a little about just the overall role that if you've been the head coach, you've been in his shoes, what's the number one thing besides staying healthy that you're focusing on getting ready for league to start?
Well, the thing is the competition that you're playing right now. I mean, you play Paso Robles and Rio Mesa and play in teams like that, Aurora Grande. You're getting ready for Calabasas and St. Bonaventures and Thousand Oaks, Newberry Park. So I think your preseason schedule is huge. And, when they come to those games, they're going to be ready because they've already played a really tough schedule.
That makes sense. And, Coach, how hard is it to keep the guys focused on the grind week in and week out through this long process?
Well, when you're winning, I think everything comes a lot easier. It's when you start losing and getting hurt when it makes it really tough. But right now, I think what they're doing is they're just having a real good time, and they believe in each other, and they're having fun playing the game. Everybody's healthy, and, they really, honestly, talking to these kids, they can't wait for the next game, and that's the key for them right now. They can't wait to play.
And I'm going to change subjects a little. Before the game, former principal, Mr. Glenn Lippman, was honored tonight. Long-time principal, assistant principal in the district, official, coach, really had done it all. Say a few words about how much Mr. Lippman meant as the principal of Camarillo High School.
Well, the one thing that he was a great supporter of all of our athletic programs, but the thing about Mr. Lippman is education came first, and we preached that to our athletes that school class was the most important thing. Football, whatever sport it was secondary. But what a great man, and what a huge support he was for all of our athletic programs. And I can remember after games, win or lose, he'd come up and talk to the kids, and they really respected him, and they had a great time with him, and they considered him one of us. So it was really good to have him around for 10 years.
Right. I think we've both shared that experience working with Mr. Lippman in the past. Myself, also in the Oxnard Union District. What about the defense on this team, Coach? That defensive front, they're tough to move off the line.
Yeah, they're big kids. And once again, Gil Mendoza coaching the defensive line. Jack's scheme is fantastic. He's as good as defensive coordinator as there is around. And now he's also a head coach, so he's got a lot going on. But those kids work really hard. They've gotten in the weight room. They've got themselves stronger, and they work really, really hard. But the one thing about it, they're dedicated. They're in the film room. They're in my classroom every Monday, Wednesday, or every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, watching film. So they know who they're playing. They know who their opponent is. And, like I said, they're just having fun right now.
Yeah,
Hey, Will,
that's-
I've got a question for Coach Riedmiller.
All right.
Actually, about Isaiah Otis, who led that touchdown drive and ultimately scored. Ask Coach Riedmiller just to talk about the great running backs that he had, and Otis seems to be one of the purest runners we've seen at Camarillo over the last decade.
Gotcha, Coach. Following up on Danny Page's comments about Otis and being a tough back in his own right, how do you compare him to the mile-long list, in my view, of Scorpion running backs here in the past?
He's a real good one. I mean, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can break it for a long run. He's tough on short yardage. You can almost compare him. Fahali Campbell was a great back in the day. Bill Bell was more of a smash mouth type runner, but this kid right here, he's got the total package, and he's just a lot of fun to watch. And another kid who's extremely dedicated to making himself a better football player.
Yeah, that's obvious. And Coach, both of us like to see the guys blocking up front. He's so patient setting up his blocks. What about the offensive line and how their chemistry works so well together?
Well, these kids have been together since they were freshmen, and they've stayed together. And if you look at their tackles, I mean, those guys are gigantic, and they're quick off the ball, and they're very mobile, and they've been together for, like I said, a long time, and they know each other, and they trust each other, and I think that's huge. And Isaiah, you're right, he knows right where they're going to be. He's patient about it, and he hits the holes.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. This is the second chance we've had a chance to cover the Scorpions this year. First chance for me, but you've gotten to see a little bit on tape. Really fun to watch this whole operation and the whole environment here. And Coach, talk to us a little about your role now as after you stepped aside for being the head coach. What's a day like in Coach Riedmiller's world right now?
Well, being that now I'm the boys varsity water polo coach, I got a few things to do, but I still do defensive stats for Jack. He'll give them to me. I'll get them on the computer, and then I give them to him so he can post them for the kids. And they use my room every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to watch defensive film, and I see the kids. Like I said, this is my last freshman class, so I know them all, and it's good to see them. And I try to get down here as much as I can and support them. And it's just Friday night's Friday night. It's just a fun time. Great to be out here, and they're just really good kids.
Yeah, for those of us who have done it for so many years, there's really no better place to be on a Friday night.
Can't think of one.
No, and then for me, just move over Saturday night and do the college thing, so it works out well. Deuce, Derry Eads, any questions for your old friend, Coach Riedmiller?
Hey, you still coaching any high jumpers?
Good point. The Deuce wants to talk about track. Are you still working with the high jumpers?
You know what? I'm not doing that anymore, Derry. I'm retired from track, retired from football, picked up water polo. Don't know how much longer I have in that, but every once in a while they ask me to come down there, and I'll go on down there and give it a little help. But those days are long gone. The Jeremy Fishers of the world are doing other things now, and I'm just kind of having fun up at the swimming pool.
Hey, you had more than Jeremy Fisher. You had Smith, who was a pretty good high jumper. He was a 6'11" guy.
We might have Will might have purposely dropped out as we got into the high jump specifics, I think. Will, please thank Coach Riedmiller for us. It's been a pleasure to hear from him.
Yeah, Coach, thanks for all your time with us tonight, and we really enjoyed visiting. All right, take care. Best of luck to you. Yeah, will do. Back to you, Danny.
Water polo? Really?
Up to the 49-yard line.
I have to run with it here, fellas, but Coach Riedmiller as a water polo coach seems a bit like a fish out of water, doesn't he?
Well, you never know. It's one of those things, if you're a good coach, you want a challenge. You've done football, you've done track. Why not water polo and see if you can do a new sport? So, a lot of coaches, they're as competitive as any of the players, so maybe he looks at it as, in the later stages of his coaching career, why not try something new?
Hey, thrown downfield and a penalty flag thrown.
If you're organized as a coach, you can coach just about anything, I think.
Pass is incomplete.
Well, yes, but there are different. I've interacted with some of the best water polo coaches in the country, and people that are considered some of the best around the world, and I think they would think about, they think a little bit differently about a football coach coaching water polo.
I've seen like a football coach take over a tennis team and make it to a really good one. This is before they had like pro tennis coaches guiding a team. I mean, just get organized, get the kids, hey, this is what you do.
37.
Yeah, but you don't have to, do egg beaters on the tennis court. You're not in the pool. Water polo is. I actually personally love water polo. I really enjoy the sport.
Yeah, it's a fun sport. I moved out here. I got to cover a little bit with you over at Time Warner whenever we did stuff. And I came in pretty naive. I'm a kid from Pennsylvania. There's not a lot of water polo going on. And out here, it's a fun sport. And, man, you talk about just a physical sport. Not the football's every bit as physical. Hockey's very physical. But water polo, underrated when it comes to being a physical sport. That's a tough one.
Will, you ever coach any water polo?
I have not. I did coach tennis, though. Were you aware of that, Dan?
No, I wasn't.
Actually, at Pacifica one year, we actually won a couple contests in the Pacific View League.
You won a couple games. Okay, I wasn't sure where that was headed.
No. We actually won that particular match that day.
Yeah, right.
I believe it might have been out at Hueneme, if I recall.
Smith hauled down from behind. We're trying to bring you up to speed on the Hueneme game. It looks like the Vikings could be in position. As Zambri brings down Smith, it looks like the Vikings might be in position here to get their first win of the year. Moore Park is trailing 21-7. Rio Mesa leads Calabasas 10-7 with 6:15 to go in the third quarter.
Calabasas had some starts that have been really good, and they've been just really good in about the third and fourth quarter. So, boy, this is not a good sign if they want to be competitive in their league. We're talking about a team that's supposed to win their division.
Well, supposed to. I think they're just relying on the big play too much at this stage and relying on Gebbia to make big plays and Holmes as well and Keyshawn Jr. And that's just not going to get it done against teams with a lot of team speed like Rio Mesa, who they're neck and neck with tonight.
Yeah, that's one thing. You can get a few big plays a game, but if teams are smart, they pretty much invite you to do short plays, get those 12, 13, 14-play possessions. And there are some teams, and maybe Calabasas falls into that mix right now, that they're very comfortable downfield, but in those short gains and just being able to put together 5-6 minute possession, they might not feel too good with that. But like Stu said, they've been a lot better in the second half than they have the first half. So maybe they'll start to separate. I guess we'll see where that goes. But you see teams like that. You mentioned, Oxnard a few weeks ago as being that type of team in the fourth quarter. There are just certain mentalities that quarterbacks have or offenses have where things don't really click until later in the game.
Well, you just can't continually rely on a Darnay Holmes to return a punt return, a couple times in the game for a touchdown. You got to be able to get your offense to get going.
And that's eventually what happened to Newbury Park, isn't it? That they just ran out of big plays last year, specifically in that section championship game. Connor Clark now in at quarterback in the third quarter, no less. As the ball's carried by Aaron Lamb. And that'll do it for Camario's first offense. Although Colby Stevens is still out there as a slot receiver,
on the tackle.
The backup quarterback is in.
Yeah, and I understand that. You're up 34 points late in the third. Your team clearly has this in hand. Get your backup some experience. You look at Clark. He's a junior. Obviously, you know what you've seen so far tonight out of Constantine. You don't need to see any more. It's smart. You want to get a lot of these guys some experience, especially when Ventura's keeping in most of its starters at this point. You get them some really quality experience. If they can move the ball against the other team's number ones, that's a good sign.
Well, listen, and I think obviously that Jake Constantine will be healthy throughout the season, but Camarillo's a school that has had injuries at the quarterback spot, Derry. We saw it with Jake when he was a sophomore, obviously. And then another injury at the quarterback position jogged my memory about
Samson
5 years
Sakachi.
ago. Samson Sakachi.
He was injured like maybe third or fourth game into the season.
Travis Valdez also filled in for a stage, didn't he, for another player that had broken his wrist trying to jump a fence, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But I can't remember who he replaced.
40-yard line.
Boy, this is an enthralling conversation. If you know who it was, mention us on Twitter at VCSPreps. By the way, that is at VCSPreps. One more quarter to go for the Hueneme Vikings. It is 20-7 after 3 as they look to break this losing streak.
Ladies and gentlemen, who bought a souvenir program,
that will bring to a close this third quarter of play. really an uneventful third quarter in some ways. This one is all Scorpions as we head to the fourth on the VCSPreps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star, VCStar.com, your local news site. Nowhere else can you find the most comprehensive and up-to-date news, sports, entertainment. It's all about what's happening in your city and your neighborhood. Visit VCStar.com today, where Ventura County goes for news. Santa Paula surging against Oak Park 28-24. They will try to spoil Oak Park's perfect season. They trail Oak Park by 4. Lancers of Thousand Oaks lead the Pioneers of Simi Valley 35-14 now, although Tanner Darling's had a good game. Marietta Valley 21, Moore Park 7. Grace Brethren 21, Desert nothing. Westlake 28, Dominguez 7. And here we go with the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that Westlake team is looking really good. As you guys mentioned, huge win last week. And Ventura County right now, they probably are the team to beat. But I am just so impressed with Camarillo tonight, just offensively, defensively, and then even throw in special teams when they've gone for a fake punt. They've just been terrific altogether. And I think you leave this game and you're saying, you start looking at this team going forward. Love the offense, love that line, but it's really that defense. And as you guys mentioned, Coach Willard prides himself on defense. You can put up 41 points, but there will be some weeks where you might put up 21, but can your defense make stops? Their defense tonight has been consistently outstanding pretty much from the start.
But we've seen this from Camarillo for a number of years, where they've been able to put up 60 points, back-to-back games, 50 points. It's when they get into the postseason, and they've had some great games in the postseason, but they can't quite get over that quarterfinal hump. And maybe what's helping them, as Coach Reed Miller said before, it's the teams that they played, and you brought up, Danny, the Paso Robles and those teams, and to beat Ventura pretty soundly. That's just got to really help them when they get to the postseason, that they know that they can compete against these really tough teams.
Well, I feel like, Gary, we were saying that at this time last year about Newberry Park. They can't get over the hump. They haven't been able to get past the semifinal. They went to the section championship game and lost on a muddy field in the Central Coast. So I think that Camarillo will get past the second round. This is a semifinal football team, barring any major injuries. And I know this is early. I know this is just September still. But this is a different Camarillo team, I think, than what we've seen in past years. And they're, I think they're a semifinal team at the very least.
Well, especially with the senior leadership on defense. They certainly have the experience. They've been in the big games. Can they take it to the next level is the big question that's in the back of the minds of any Camarillo booster right now, because they've been so close.
Well, one of the things is Camarillo just really picks their way down the field and bleeds the clock out in this game. One of the things I look at with this Camarillo defense, where they could struggle, you would think, are with those power running teams, although they handled Paso Robles. I'm going to give you some of the dimensions, the sizes for their key defensive players. They really model their linebacking core and defensive ends quite a bit after Oregon, actually. They like these undersized, quicker linebackers. Brett Trebold is 6 foot, 175 pounds. How about defensive end Wyatt Zambry? Zambry is 6 foot, 180 pounds. These are undersized players at these positions, and they don't seem to skip a beat with these speedier linebackers and ends.
Yeah, that works for the most part as long as you're sure tackling and you can make plays in space. Where that becomes an issue is if you get up against the power team in the postseason and you're missing those tackles, then all of a sudden that team's breaking 50-yard gains instead of 7-yard gains. But yeah, when you have speedier players like that, you're going to be in position. You have to be able to make the tackles. So far this season, they've done it. Tonight, they've been outstanding. But that will be a challenge going forward, is can a team wear them down and really force a few missed tackles? Because if you put them in position, I think that Trebold has been outstanding tonight, but that will be a challenge if you go up against bigger, stronger type of teams. But for now, these guys have been awesome.
Well, especially you run into, and this will happen in the Northern Division, you're going to run into, a group full of big boys from up in the Central Coast. And here's the thing, we looked at Camarillo's schedule. We said, okay, they handled Rio Mesa 51-17. They're beating Ventura. Next up, St. Bonaventure and Calabasas. But let's remember, they also beat Paso and Arroyo Grande, Deuce, and I think that's a big statement in the Northern Division to have gone and played those teams and held them, to 14 points or less.
Yeah, it seems to be those teams up north have been kind of a thorn in their eyes. Yeah, I think they had a really good game against, St. Louis Obispo, where it was a huge score in a quarterfinal game that they looked like Camarillo was going to win that game.
30-yard touchdown run for Aaron Lamb, and Camarillo leads 47-7 over Ventura.
Even with a few of the backups, very impressive. That possession, doing it virtually all on the ground. And once again, this offense has shown the ability, led by that O-line, blocking, and then Lamb just follows the blockers to pay dirt. Outstanding effort, and a fairly easy drive there, even with some of the backups in.
To try the extra point.
Will Cowan will have our interview with our player of the game after the game, and of course we'll have full highlights in that interview on the VCSPreps post-game extra, which will be shared on Ventura County on VCStar.com over the weekend.
Ventura 7.
Calabasas is taking the lead, 13-10 on top of Rio Mesa.
Don't forget to check your souvenir program.
Another touchdown drive for Simi Valley, 35-20 at this point. They're in it. Oaks Christian on top of Birmingham, 42-7.
Check your souvenir program page.
Some interesting things unfolding in fourth quarters tonight across the county and beyond. Not necessarily here, as Camarillo's just put on a show.
Well, you got to hope for Ventura that they can get one of their top running backs back.
I think they will. I think they will, and I think they'll turn things around this year.
They really need to get one of those. Hopefully, both those guys back. Well, if you get both those guys in the backfield at the same time, it would make a big difference in what Ventura can present to defenses.
Ventura lost to a Thousand Oaks team to open the season. They fell to Rio Mesa in a game we did, but a very good Rio Mesa team. They're losing here to a very good Camarillo team. They have Hart next week, and then they get into the Channel League. So as we look at things from the Ventura point of view, as the Cougars get the ball back with 7:45 to go and a running clock with a 41-point advantage, this team could still very well be the favorite to win the Channel League.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that could still run the table.
In the league.
Yeah.
First and 10.
Absolutely.
Their team could be 6-4, 7-3. Heading into the playoffs with, home game for the first round.
Without question. And then when you get in that Western Division, I mean, if you have Sourwine back, if you have 1 to 2 of these running backs, they can compete in the Western Division just like they did last year in reaching a CIF final.
Yeah, this is not like a bad team by any means. It just shows how good Camarillo is and how well they've executed tonight. But you're right. They get some of their top guys back. You mentioned Sourwine. What's it, about a 7-8 week injury? You get him back towards the end of the season, maybe come postseason time. That's a weapon you have now that you can rely on. And then we love what we've seen out of Mortensen and Moran for that matter. So, yeah, they're not by any means out of this in terms of what they can do going forward. It's just tonight, and obviously against Rio Mesa, they went up against some pretty good teams.
Hey, they were close to making this a game in the first half. They're stopped on the 5-yard line. If they were able to score, it was a 20-14 game.
That was really the play that turned it, and also it was 13-7. Remember, and the fake punt, and Camarillo just started sprinting downhill from there.
They had some long drives. They had a 94-yard drive, an 86-yard drive, and a 96-yard drive.
Carry for the Cougars. is down to the 41-yard line. Again, the ball goes out of bounds, but the clock will keep running. The rule is that the clock runs with a 35-point advantage for one team in the fourth quarter.
And Mortensen just came back into the game, so he's a guy that they're going to try to get him some reps here in the closing minutes. And even though he's banged up, he's sort of battled through it. Once Moran went down, he stepped up, and he's performed admirably. And when fully healthy, he's a different back. He's clearly not quite there at this moment, but you have to like seeing him in right now and getting those reps here in the closing moments.
It's not a bad time to get him on the field either, as the game seems to have lost its adrenaline in a lot of ways. We're just kind of meandering through a fourth quarter here. Send us your thoughts, though, if you want to chime in and have something to say about the deuce. No, if you want to chime in and chat about...
I'm not shaving my mustache.
If you want to chime in and give us your thoughts, we'd be happy to read your tweets.
How many years has it been since you have not had a mustache? Like, how many years have you rocked the stash? Has it been
40 years?
40 years. Wow.
1975.
I can see the deuce. I bet the 70s might have been a pretty interesting time in his life.
Absolutely. When did the deuce come to be?
Out here.
It came to be out here.
Woody Woodburn.
No gain there. Clock continuing to run. So for Ventura, it's Hart at College of the Canyons next week. That's a tough game. For Camarillo, it's a week off. And then look at this stretch. St. Bonaventure at Calabasas, Newberry Park, and at Thousand Oaks. What a testing 4-week run in October.
Yeah, they're going to need to play the way they played tonight and keep adding more dimensions to this team, because those are all games they're going to get challenged. There's no doubt about it.
Cougars throwing deep down inside the 10-yard line, and we'll get a pass interference flag.
It was on the far side of the field. It almost looked like the receiver slipped. Maybe he was pushed in the back prior. Or maybe the DB knew it was going to be pass interference, because it looked like he literally just swatted it away anyway.
Well, the ball was well underthrown, and the running back the receiver had to kind of go around the defender and try to catch the ball.
And that's one thing tonight that they've actually had some issues with for Camarillo, has been the penalties. And when you mention that stretch where it's St. Bonnie, Calabasas, Newberry Park, T.O., these penalties can come back to really cost you one of those games. So I think for the most part, Coach Jack Willard has to feel good about his team. But that is one thing he can emphasize when they break down tape and they work on it, is we need to clean up these type of mistakes, because eventually it's going to be a much tighter ball game. Can't allow that.
Well, that's probably a second or third string guy. They've all replaced all their starting defensive guys, I would think. Wouldn't you?
Yes.
Right. Of course, but it's still been throughout the game. They've been the team that has committed the more penalties, and whether it's third stringers, second stringers, or first, you don't want those guys to make those mistakes. Of course, you're certainly right about that. There's mainly all backups playing at this point, but that's really the one negative, if anything, tonight.
Well, I'd rather see a penalty like that than let the guy catch the ball and run it in.
Second down and 7.
Wouldn't you?
I don't disagree with you there.
I'll just leave this to you two. Let's get back to some scores here. Royals scored a big touchdown, and they lead Santa Barbara 37-22 partway through the third. An absolute battle between Pacifica and Buena. Remember, Daniel Moraga has been ejected from the game. Martin Mijares hits Andrew Burgum, and it's 14-14 going to the fourth quarter. At the start of the fourth quarter, Hart leads St. Bonnie 24-21. Oh, the Seraph faithful would be pulling their hair out if they were to lose to Hart at home. Inside of 2 minutes on this running clock, and gentlemen, we will, at the completion of the game, send it down to Will Cowan. We'll chat with our player of the game. Be catching up with Camarillo quarterback Jake Constantine. We'll have that interview for you live, and then we'll go off to record our post-game extra. Here's Smith. He's sacked. So, fellas, as we wind things down here the final minute and a half, why don't you go ahead and give me your final thoughts?
I would say just great football all around, but realistically, very impressed with what I saw from Constantine tonight and the weapons around him. He played, for the most part, outside of one bad throw. He was spot on throughout the night. So extremely impressed with this team, not only defensively, but on the offensive side. That's a quarterback that can make plays and win you games down the stretch here.
Well, Constantine was 16 of 21 for 336 yards.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize his statistics were that lofty.
That's
if
over
you
20
will.
yards of completion.
Wow.
And Otis rushed for 106.
Pass is
And then
incomplete.
Muscarella had 4 catches for 136 yards.
Well, again, that's how I feel in terms of
Rivera
what makes this
defending on the play.
Camarillo team so special.
Camarillo takes over on downs.
Is that they have so many different ways that they can beat you. They're so balanced, more so than we've
Ladies
seen.
and gentlemen, as you're leaving the
And
stadium,
then the other
you can
thing, of
pick
course,
up
is the
any
defense
papers,
came
cups,
to
and
play
trash
tonight.
around
They
your
were
seating area
awesome.
and deposit them in
Defensive
the
line
receptacles.
really dominated
The
up front,
Browns
as
very
Will
much
was
appreciate
saying
it.
to Reed Miller.
Watch them get out
That
here a little
defensive
bit
line
quicker
has big
tonight.
bodies. They made plays. And then it's up to that
Trash, please pick it
second
up
level,
and put it in
third
the
level
receptacles
guys
on
to
your
come
way
in,
out
fill
of the
those
stadium.
gaps, and tackle well.
Final score,
There were very
Camarillo
few
48,
plays all night that
Ventura
resulted in
7.
big-time positive gains for the Cougars, and that's a big attribute towards the Scorpions defense.
Camarillo will be tested, though. They're going to be tested
Next
by
week, Camarillo
teams that
has
are maybe a little
bye,
bit
and then the
bigger up
following week
front.
will be at St. Bonaventure.
But what they have been able to
So next week we have
do
a bye 2 weeks from tonight at St.
in a
Bonaventure.
lot of different facets of the game offensively has
We
been
appreciate
pretty
you
special
attending. Please have a safe
to
drive
observe.
home.
Well, you got to
We'll see
think
you
that
back
as
here
they
on November 6th, our next home
face
game.
these bigger teams
Good
that Mr. Tostado is going to be a bigger factor.
I'm sorry, October 23rd is our next home game.
Yeah, I really feel
see
like
They've got 3 really good receivers who can really pop some pretty big yardage. And they've got Otis. Not only did he rush for 106 yards, but he caught a couple of good passes. So you get the ball out to him in the flat and with some good blocking, and he can pop up a good run too.
there's a lot of weapons. And again, one that was underused in a lot of ways was Tostado, Jake Constantine, an embarrassment of riches, to borrow that cliche, for this Camarillo team. And Will Cowan is just about ready with Jake. Let's see. Will is ready to roll. Let's toss it down to Will Cowan, who's right at midfield with the star quarterback for the Scorpions.
Right
Will?
here with Jake Constantine. Talk to us, first of all, congratulations on a great win. Talk to us about your senior class and how long you guys have been together.
I mean, we've all been playing together pretty much. We are on the same team all together in 8th grade as one. So, I mean, we've been progressing every year, and it's just a big old team bond, so it's easier to play with each other.
Coach Reed Miller and I had a good conversation earlier. Talk about your offensive line and the time they provide you and the holes they open tonight.
It's ridiculous. I mean, every week they keep getting better and better. So, I mean, it's no big surprise. In the beginning of the year, I knew they were going to be big time, and they're providing it.
Tough preseason schedule for you. Obviously, conference or your league games, every game is for real. How do you feel getting ready for league play?
I'm excited. We got a bye week next week, which is big, so we got to rest all of our guys, and we're going to come out strong after St. Bonaventure.
Excellent. And final question for you. Talk a little bit about your defense and how well they were able to contain that Cougar running game.
I mean, I think second half they've only given up 1 touchdown the whole year, so, I mean, there's nothing really much more we could ask for them.
Best of luck to you, and congratulations to Coach Willard and your whole program.
Thank you.
Thanks to Will Cowan and to Jake Constantine for taking time out to chat with us. A huge win for Camarillo. They take a week off, and then a monumental game against St. Bonaventure with major county bragging rights on the line. Big thanks to Will Cowan down on the field. Thanks to our producer, Anthony Placencia, for my broadcast partners up in the booth. Kent Brown and the Deuce Derry Eads. My name is Danny Page. We will see you next week on the VCSPreps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star. Good night, everybody.